On the second day of eChristmas, my true love said to me, hello and welcome. My name's Nathan Lomax, co-founder of Quickfire Digital.
Hello everyone, I'm Gav Willis and I'm from Search 7.
Today we're going to bring you our latest episode from our new campaign, the 12 Days of eChristmas.
Hope you enjoy it. There's going to be loads of tips, loads of advice, getting you ready for 2021.
Now, if you're looking to sell online, embracing e-commerce, then you shouldn't look any further than Shopify. With more than 400,000 stores using the platform and 600,000 businesses using Shopify in some capacity, it is now the third largest e-commerce platform in the world. And I'm sure today's guest may even tell us some updates from that. Now, Shopify is used in more than 175 countries, and that's certainly part of its appeal. Their support is unrivaled, and the user experience of the platform is absolutely second to none. This is a massive draw to why so many businesses are moving to Shopify. Now, it is my huge pleasure that today we can welcome Lauren Helstab, the Strategic Partnerships for UK and Ireland from Shopify, to talk to us today. Good morning, Lauren. How are you doing?
Feeling good. Hi, guys.
Lovely to see you. Now, of course, no episode of this Christmas campaign would be complete without my good friend and reindeer himself, Mr. Gav Willis. Gav, how's things?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Very good, mate. Not too bad. Not long till Christmas now, buzzing. Just quickly, we're going to have about 15, 20 minutes with Lauren, just asking us some questions to share with our audience about the importance of Shopify and why, if you haven't in 2020, 2021 is your year to adopt Shopify and to take your e-commerce strategy to the next level. Now, before we dive in, Lauren, I'm really keen to understand just a little bit about your story and what your role is now within Shopify HQ.
Sure, yeah. So the accent's Canadian, if anyone's wondering. I started my career off in advertising and marketing in Canada, in Toronto, and worked primarily with CPG brands and direct-to-consumer brands. Learned a lot about the customer journey, the importance of omni-channel marketing, and really kind of what's the saying? Cut my teeth, I think is the saying in the industry. And then about 4 years ago, I joined Shopify, leading our partnerships, our agency partnerships in part of the US. And then about a year ago, year and a half ago, maybe actually, moved over to the UK to build our strategic partnerships in the UK and Ireland. So it's a journey. I'm still getting to know everything over on this side of the pond, but it's a really exciting time in e-commerce in the UK. And so I'm really excited what's to come.
Brilliant, Lauren. That's great. I mean, you said you joined about a year and a half ago. So obviously this year has been a big year. So in terms of things that you brought out this year for Shopify, can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Mm-hmm. So it was one of those years where you have a plan going in, and then the pandemic happened, and really what the priority becomes is just trying to help small businesses and independents get through this time and really be able to figure out a new strategy for themselves and pivot. So at the beginning of the year, it was a lot about providing the right education for people who are looking to transition their business online. We launched a theme called Express that helps people launch essentially a one-page website really quickly. We had tons of workshops and webinars, and we released our Shopify Compass Academy, which has tons of training for people. So it was a lot of that. And then throughout the year, there's been a few really interesting updates. So in March, we released the ability to, we support natively 3D models and video in Shopify. So thinking about that real visual experience, how to augment that on site. And that's 3D is really interesting technology that has a pretty good effect on conversion, but wouldn't be that easy for small businesses to take part in because it can be expensive. But we're really trying to democratize some of the technologies that the big companies would use for all the small businesses. So that was really exciting for us. Another big one was that we launched the ability for people to offer subscriptions and post-purchase sales directly in Shopify checkout. So that's not Shopify offering subscriptions, but that's us building the platform that allows other technologies to integrate with Shopify checkout in a way that allows for a seamless offer of subscription and post-purchase upsells through Shopify. So those are two huge ones this year. And then I think, like, generally speaking, into this time, there's been, a lot of still that need to help people through this Black Friday, Cyber Monday, and holiday selling season. So still a lot of education. And we've launched a few interesting sales channels in the US this year, including TikTok. So lots on the radar, lots happening, and hopefully some of those things can come to the UK soon.
Brilliant. I was going to say, actually, Lauren, in terms of, it leads very nicely onto the next question, in terms of how have you seen, you mentioned the pandemic, reacting to kind of look after the customers, giving them workshops, different things you can do to kind of look after the small businesses. How have you seen their behavior change in the last, say, 8 months?
Mm-hmm. So in April, we saw a ton of change because that was kind of the start of the lockdown in the UK, at least. And like, to give you some numbers, we saw a 70% increase in store creations from like in April compared to March.
Yeah.
And that tells us that, a lot of merchants are likely trying to pivot online. That we like attribute it to mostly that. And then in terms of the way customers were behaving, we saw a 68% increase in April, again, compared to March, of the number of customers who shopped at a Shopify merchant for the first time. So it's an estimated number, but it's a good signal that people are shopping online for the first time.
Yeah.
And that tells me that there's a huge increase in online shopping. And then we saw that reflected in the global numbers for online sales as well.
Wow.
So that was the main differences. What we also noticed was, apart from that increased online shopping, is that businesses were then supporting shoppers in different ways. There's a new need for local delivery that didn't exist really before, because all these independents on the high street are trying to figure out how do they ship to someone down the street?
Yeah.
How do they get their product to someone who's shopping online now? So then you also saw the emergence of, a lot more demand for buy online, pick up in store, buy online, pick up curbside delivery options. Additional to that, you get this movement to support local and shopping independent, which is something that we feel really strongly about, but also something, that's really important. Our local businesses are the backbone of the economy. And so to support those is something that we need to continue doing, but it was something that we saw a lot during the pandemic.
Oh, this is awesome. I'm really keen to understand from you, with so many businesses actually deciding that bricks and mortar was no longer the sole option and that need to embrace online. Obviously, getting the CMS, the content management system, right from the get-go is so important. And we've seen throughout the pandemic, not only people entering the world of e-commerce, but also people migrating away from your Magentos, potential, your bigger enterprise solutions, over to Shopify and Shopify Plus. Tell us a little bit more about why someone would choose Shopify as opposed to one of those other platforms, and why Shopify has quickly become the go-to e-commerce solution.
Yeah, I think that one of the big pulls for Shopify is that it's so easy to use. So you don't need a development background to be able to use Shopify. So it's why it's really attractive to a lot of small businesses. But for those who are on another type of platform, the reason they might switch to Shopify probably has a lot to do with the money that they'd save in developing new features, in maintaining the platform. We're a SaaS solution, so you don't have to pay for server time. There's no sort of upfront maintenance for security or anything like that. We manage all that infrastructure ourselves. So those are big draws. I think what a lot of retailers will have felt the pain of in this pandemic, or the challenge of really, is that, in times where you need to make a quick shift, it's very difficult if you don't have a platform that supports that. And we build with a platform first approach, which means we're always developing APIs that help people build the integrations they need. So though there's the online store, which is a really important piece of retail, and the in-store piece of retail that is super important, there's all these other channels that people, consumers, are trying and looking for brands to interact with. So TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, through conversations, in WhatsApp, you name it, there's a number of different channels. And I think when you look at a larger brand, they are constantly trying to innovate and need to get ahead of that, wherever their customers are, and a platform like Shopify helps them do that really easily.
Perfect.
Brilliant. Cheers. Okay. Go on, Nathan, you going to go?
Yeah, I'm just interested to hear about how e-commerce has boomed in 2020. Personally, I'm really interested to know, and I know a lot of people listening will be interested to know, what features can we look forward to in 2021 that actually is going to continue to put Shopify at the very forefront of people's e-commerce strategies?
You guys are going to have to wait and see.
No, don't do this.
We every year we have our reunite event where we can talk about what's to come. I think that there's it's a really exciting time. There's plenty that we could be doing. So you guys will see in a few months.
Okay, fair play. Okay, so in terms of 2021 outside of Shopify, what would you say is the biggest emerging trend, being more generic and less about Shopify, that you see coming, that you can tell us about?
Yeah, so we actually just recently, as of like a few days ago, so December 9th, really, yesterday, we launched our Future of Commerce report. It's the first time we've launched something like that, and there's plenty of details in there, but I'll go through the high level trends that we're seeing or that we are predicting for 2021. We think that young consumers are going to change the way that businesses operate and are really going to drive innovation. So things like the continued growth in social commerce, the need for that sort of Instagram shoppable post experience across the entire brand experience, not just on Instagram, and really just sort of changing the way even that a business would think about payments. So buy online, pay later, things like that. We also see that physical retail is transforming. So you see a lot more of those like in-store appointments or creating an experience in store, buy online, pick up in store, curbside, et cetera. And we think that that's going to continue to transform, and really it's going to create a lot of advantage for local business where they can drive people from online in the store, have that sort of local experience, still connecting with the consumer, but not necessarily always in the store. Yeah. Then we're also, we're really passionate about this, but so we think it's going to happen, but it is happening, and people are really looking to support independence. So we think that that's going to continue into 2021, which means that businesses are going to have to and going to want to react to that. So right now, some of the friction to buying local and supporting independence is discoverability. People don't know how to find their local businesses. How many of us tried to shop local for Christmas and had trouble? So, Google My Business listings and local marketing, and even like those marketplaces that are popping up that have sort of your high street online, those become really important. And there's even more stuff that we could be doing to help people buy local. And then finally, consumers are starting to, vote with their wallet more. So sustainable goods and things like that are going to be really popular in 2021 and continue to be. People don't necessarily, this is a piece of the shopping independent, but people don't want to buy from a brand that they don't feel trust with and don't feel a connection with. And so that is going to continue, and we're going to see more and more of that.
And that's been hugely valuable. Thank you. For those listening that are interested to find out about the Shopify conferences and to get the latest on Shopify and where it's going, where would you send them, and where can we tell them to go to keep in the loop?
Yeah, if you go to shopify.co.uk/blog, you can subscribe to our blog, which will always have the latest announcements and tons of really, really interesting articles. And we also have events.shopify.com, which have basically any event that we're running. And if you subscribe to that page with your email, then you'll get all of our events emails as well.
Perfect. Thank you.
Fantastic, Lauren. I mean, this has been absolutely brilliant. Some fantastic insights there and some trends and some stats. You pretty much brought so much to the table. So thank you so much. Obviously, today is a merge between Quickfire and Search 7. And we've got 7 Quickfire questions. So the last question for you, this is the big one, is what is on the top of your shopping list, or Christmas list, shall I say, this Christmas?
Well, I mean, I feel like I have one that's a little bit, nice, and the other one that's very selfish. But, like everyone else, I'd love to see my family this Christmas. It's going to happen over Zoom this year, but that's fine. Can't travel to Canada right now. But selfishly, I hope and really wish my brother sends me a tortilla press for Christmas.
Oh, wow.
You know how everyone's baking and making new foods in the pandemic time. I've been obsessed with tortillas.
Love it. That's a great present.
That is the top present we've had so far. A tortilla press.
So far, okay. It's really specific. So I was hoping that, I didn't really give him very many options, and he has me this year. So
well, let us know if Santa doesn't bring it, and we might be able to do something. But Lauren, it's been a real pleasure to have you on. It's lovely to chat to you as always. Thank you so much for joining us. For those that are listening, I hope you've enjoyed it, and we look forward to seeing you next time on our 12 Days of eChristmas. Thank you very much.